Yeah, what? Like hell, you say? No, like heaven. Welcome to The Simpsons Taught Me Everything, where every episode starts with a couch gag. I'm Michael, a man whose entire career has been built on random factoids and trivia about science, culture, history, and media, and about 85% of that knowledge once began as a reference on The Simpsons that I didn't get, and either looked up or wheedled my dad about until he strangled me with both hands, you know, in a funny way. Like a broad Indian accent coming out of a cis yellow male. In this new series, I'm going to share that hard-earned knowledge with you, joke by joke. Today, we're zooming in on Bart the Fink, Season 7, Episode 15 of The Simpsons. Keep up. It's the one with Bob Newhart.
I was waiting for a different funeral to start.
I'll handle it.
Bob Newhart, everybody!
Krusty's funeral, and a line that once made me laugh so hard I puked.
Not a quarter? He'll be dancing for hours.
Remember, I was 11 at the time, which is why the joke we're unpacking went so far above my head that I may as well be Marge's yarmulke. It's this one.
Krusty the Clown was arrested today for massive tax fraud. Krusty's years of tax avoision would never have...
Heck is avoision?
Avoision, it's a crime. Look it up. Would never have...
Evasion.
I don't say evasion, I say avoision.
Like most good Simpsons jokes from the classic era, it works fine in the context of the scene without you knowing any of the stuff I'm about to tell you. Kent says words wrong despite talking for a living, breaks format to argue about it. This is laughing. This is what raucous human laughter is. But when I seriously started getting into Star Trek, ha! F you, it's more Star Trek. I will always bring it back to Star Trek. I came across what's considered the ultimate William Shatner blooper, the cadence of which should by now sound familiar.
Spock, sabotage the system.
Okay, can you have line 193 again? With sabotage.
I don't say sabotage. You say sabotage. I say sabotage.
That's right. That's it. Simpsons writers were all fucking nerds and thought very obscure, low-stakes stuff was funny. And they were right. What's incredible is it all coalesced into one of the best TV shows of all time. By which I, of course, mean Star Trek, even though the sentence grammatically implied I meant The Simpsons. Point is, Shatner consistently mispronounces sabotage all throughout the original series.
Lieutenant Uhura has effectively sabotaged the communication station. In a deliberate act of sabotage. Should I sabotage something?
But wait, that's not all. B-Shat, as his lawyers insist we all call him from now on, is kind of infamous for being, how should I put this, a little vain, a little pompous, a little...
Bartesque.
In fact, the blooper comes from a much longer audio reel of him being straight condescending as fuck to the voiceover director giving him notes while they produce an intro for an educational special.
This is William Shatner, and I would like to invite you to take a journey with me into the 21st century. So take the next few minutes and listen very closely. You'll be amazed at what you hear. Okay?
Can there be a little more excitement in the beginning?
I love it. Okay. All right.
It sounded like really laid, really super laid back.
Well, I'm saying, okay, I'll try and do that. Take two.
Okay, a little inside baseball unpacking for those of you who aren't in the biz, as I clearly am, evidenced by my new Simpsons series on the Cracked YouTube channel. If you're directing something and your actor literally laughs at the notion of doing a second take, you're in a tight spot. This moment is also a great example of the vibes Billy West and David X. Cohen say inspired the voice and swagger of Futurama's Zach Brannigan.
Gif!
Yes, Captain.
I have made it with a woman. Inform the men.
All right, let's do this. Take two. Take it, Billy.
This is William Shatner, and I would like to invite you to take a journey with me into the 21st century. So take the next few minutes and listen very closely. Speak up. And maybe you better do it the way you hear it. Do it for me. No, I mean, just go ahead.
This is William Shatner, and I would like to invite you to take a journey with me into the 21st century.
Is that the way you'd like me to do it? I'll do it that way. This is William Shatner, and I would like to invite you to take a journey with me into the 21st century. So take the next few minutes and listen very closely. You'll be amazed at what you hear. Okay, so I think that came pretty close.
I'm sorry, are you making fun of me?
No, that was about the way you did it. I wasn't jesting.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know.
No, I insist. Is that satisfactory to you?
Well, maybe I should have just kept my mouth shut. I mean,
No, because if your mouth were open, you'd have popped some pills in them.
Jesus! I mean, I know it's not Christian Bale flipping out on set,
I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. You don't shut up for a second, all right?
but please remember, a Batman shoot costs everyone involved thousands of dollars a second, whereas Shatner is in a sound booth in casual clothes and no makeup on a weekend making fat bank for doing almost nothing. And he's calling the director a drug addict because he asked for a second take with a little more energy, which honestly is the second most common note voice directors give. Right after, "Please stop crooning and just let us go home, Seth. We all want to go home."
today.
It's also pretty bad form for a director to give an actor a line reading, as in doing it for them. But Shatner coaxes the guy into doing that specifically so he can epically dunk on him with an unflattering imitation. He doesn't even let the dude take it back. He's locked in now. He's flying us into hell at warp 9 like the goddamn Lewis and Clark from Event Horizon.
Do the next paragraph for me so I can get an idea of how you want it. This is page 2.
Well, I don't know. I really don't want to because I think you actually have a much better feel.
No, I don't think I do. I would like to hear you read the second paragraph so I can do it that way.
Now that I looked at the different things you did, I really liked the first one. But
No, I like it better the way you did it. I insist that you show me how to do page 2. No, I'm going to do it the way you think it should go. No, I am going to do it the way you're reading it. Okay? I know you're here to see that I do it the way the company wants it, so I'm going to do it the way you read it.
Brutal! Of course, William Shatner was not the first pompous entitled celebrity in Hollywood. That honor should perhaps go to Orson Welles, the director of Citizen Kane, and a film innovator of historical import. But no matter how much you revolutionize cinema, few escape the allure of sweet lady liquor, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. Even wine, it turns out.
102, take 1.
With overlap, action please. Action Orson, please.
You just do anything?
No, sorry, cut.
102, take 2.
Ah, the French champagne has always been celebrated for its excellence. There is a California champagne by Paul Masson, inspired by that same French excellence. It's fermented in the bottle, and like the best French champagne, it's vintage dated. So Paul Masson.
102, take 3.
Action please.
Ah, the French champagne has always been celebrated for its excellence. There is a California champagne by Paul Masson, inspired by that same French excellence. It's fermented in the bottle, and like the best French champagne, it's vintage dated. So
I don't know who Paul Masson is, but thank you, sir. Thank you for this gift to the internet. And of course, hat tip to Orson himself, also responsible for a rant that's eerily similar to Shatner's, almost as if Shatner studied Welles and went out of his way to replicate that exact frequency of asshole.
Could I have just one more take of that, sir?
Why? I just did it right.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not used to having more than one person in there. One more word out of you and you go. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
I take directions from one person under protest, but from two I don't sit still. Who the hell are you, anyway?
No, I'm the engineer.
Well, why the hell are you asking me for another one?
Well, I thought there was a slight bonk, and I would just like to be safe.
Jesus. What is a gonk? Do you mind telling me what that is?
Not a bang from outside.
A bang from outside.
Keep in mind, this is one of the most accomplished film directors to ever live, and the dude's acting like he doesn't even know how recording sound works, or what a safety is, or why one might want to take another take if there's a sound gonk, or how awesome the word gonk is. Oh, he knows. You think Orson hasn't dealt with gonks? The guy has de-gonked a scene or two. Nevertheless, the great man continues to feign a child's misapprehension.
When we get out of that snowy field. When I was out, we were onto a can of peas, a big dish of peas when I said in July.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, always. I'm always past that.
Can you emphasize a bit in July?
Why? That doesn't make any sense. Get me a jury and show me how you can say in July, and I'll go down on you.
All right, okay, let's all calm down, movie daddy. Tell you what, you can go down on me just because. That's my gift to you. But later though, for now, please serve me my lunch, but be really about it.
Here under protest is beef burgers. We know a little place in the American far west where Charlie Briggs chops up the finest prairie-fed beef and tastes. This is a lot of shit, you know that.
Why, yes, send it back and get me another one at once, you dunderpate. I said rare medium well, not medium well. Okay, well, Orson's back in the kitchen blasting my burger with vengeful snot rockets. It's okay, I like it. I'll explain why we took this little detour with yet another Simpsons clip.
I'm a fan of animation.
Specifically, Maurice LaMarche, the voice of Kif Kroker on Futurama, who's the right-hand humanoid of Zap Brannigan, who was based on Shatner. There. Justified it. By it, I mean showing you this amazing clip from Animaniacs, wherein the aforementioned Maurice LaMarche does that whole Orson blooper essentially word for word.
We know a remote farm in Lincolnshire where Mrs. Buckley lives. Every July, peas grow there. Do you really mean that?
Yeah, but if you could start a half second later.
Don't you think you really want to say July over the snow? Isn't that the fun of it? I think it's so nice that you see a snow-covered field and say every July peas grow there. We're talking about them growing and she's picked them.
Well, we want to be out of that snowy field.
But I was out. We were onto a can of peas, a big dish of peas when I said in July.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, always. I'm always past that.
You are?
Yes.
So it's not just the Simpsons writers who expect you to know this shit. It's shows literally aimed at small children. Learn your film history or GTFO, kids. On a similar note, here's Jay Sherman, the critic, co-created by legendary Simpsons producers Al Jean and Mike Reiss, doing a bit on the previous Orson blooper that I will never stop laughing at until the day I die of obsessive pop culture disorder. Every time I say that, Daniel wins an Emmy.
Rosebud. Yes, rosebud frozen peas. Full of country goodness and green penis. Wait, that's terrible. I quit. Just a handful for the road. Oh, what luck. There's a French fry stuck in my beard. Oh, yeah.
So there you go. William Shatner. Or Orson Welles, or Star Trek bloopers. I'll leave it to the geniuses over at the titling lab to figure out what the topic of this episode actually was. Event Horizon? Let's call this an Event Horizon video. Before I release the hounds, 2 more depth charges of wisdom, and then we'll blow. And not the way Orson Welles does if you can emphasize the word in at the beginning of a sentence in a naturalistic way. In case you're unaware, the episode titled Bart the Fink is an allusion to the weirdest Coen Brothers movie, Bart the Fink, knowledge of which also unlocks a Simpsons joke I didn't understand at all as a kid, but eventually came to think of as a top 100 Simpsons bit.
Come on, Bart! We're gonna go sneak into an R-rated movie! Let's call Bart and Fink!
I can't. I told my dad I'd wait for him.
Bart and Fink! Bart and Fink!
Oh! Hilarious. That episode is called Brother from the Same Planet, which itself is a reference to a 1984 John Sayles movie. And Sayles was also in Matinee with John Goodman, who's in Bart and Fink, plus Kevin Bacon was there, but just out of frame and not acting, just hanging out on set. But that still counts as a Kevin Bacon point. Anyway, don't look into it. And finally, to circle all the way back to that fabulous Kent Brockman bit, avoision is a word. Kent was right, motherfucker. Yeah, what? Like hell you say? No, Like heaven. It may be a word that if you type it into Google, it says, I'm sure you meant aversion, but if you hold Google down and smack it around and yell avoision a lot, you will eventually be led to this definition. Avoision, the non-payment of tax that cannot be classified as either avoidance or evasion. See? It's a portmanteau of avoidance and evasion. Just like portmanteau itself is a portmanteau of Portage of Germantown. Again, don't look into that. In tax parlance, avoidance is like taking advantage of legal loopholes in a way that you're technically allowed to, while evasion is taking illegal or fraudulent action meant to cover up non-payment. Like how they nailed Al Capone, which in turn set the stage for a big Geraldo special where they opened up his vault and it was a big letdown, and now you get this joke.
There was nothing in Al Capone's vault, but it wasn't Geraldo's fault.
But that's a reference to unpack another episode. The important takeaway is that if Kent was secretly right all along, that means Krusty did neither of those things. The most common scenario in cases like that is that he simply never paid taxes, but also made no illegal effort to cover it up. Which is definitely the funniest possible way for Krusty to handle that situation, given the options given. Sorry, I mean Rory B. Bellows. Now why don't you leave a comment below and give us a thumbs up, in spite of that thing I just said. You conformist sheep. Cut that.